Welcome to the podcast. Today, we will be talking about Biafra. It was not merely a civil war. It was the first test of Britain's post-colonial control, the template for how empire would survive without the flag. Nigeria's independence in 1960 left behind a fragile federation designed by Britain, a Muslim-dominated north, a Christian-majority South, and boundaries drawn for resource access, not unity. Britain had ensured that power rested with the northern region, especially the Hausa Fulani political elite, because of their loyalty to British indirect rule. Economic leverage. Shell BP controlled roughly 84% of Nigeria's oil concessions, mostly located in the eastern region, homeland of the Igbo people. January 1966. A coup led mostly by Igbo officers toppled the northern-dominated government. July 1966. Northern officers retaliated in a bloody counter-coup, slaughtering tens of thousands of Igbo civilians across northern cities, the beginning of mass ethnic cleansing. In response to massacres and the breakdown of trust, Eastern Region leader Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu declared the Independent Republic of Biafra on the 30th of May, 1967. London's immediate concern was not unity, but oil. The majority of crude output came from Shell BP installations in the Niger Delta, which fell inside Biafran territory. Prime Minister Harold Wilson's government therefore recognized the Federal Military Government, FMG, in Lagos as Nigeria's sole legal authority, framing the conflict as an internal affair. The Wilson government supplied the FMG with aircraft, armored vehicles, and small arms through secret contracts, while publicly denying direct involvement. British High Commissioner Sir David Hunt advised the FMG and justified total blockade as legitimate wartime strategy. British pilots and mercenaries trained federal forces. British firms such as Shell BP and United Africa Company provided logistics and intelligence. At the same time, Britain blocked international humanitarian relief flights to Biafra, calling them interference. Now let's talk about the humanitarian catastrophe. The naval blockade cut off food, medicine, and aid. By 1969, an estimated 2 million people, mostly children, had died of starvation. Images of skeletal Igbo children shocked the world. Yet Wilson refused to pressure Lagos, saying privately, "We can't have our oil interests jeopardized." Relief flights organized by churches and the Red Cross were often denied landing clearance or bombed on approach. The British media, manipulation propaganda, portrayed the war as an Igbo rebellion against national unity. The BBC and Reuters were instructed to use the phrase so-called Biafra. Appeals from humanitarian groups, Oxfam, Caritas, and Irish missionaries, were dismissed as sentimental. The few British MPs who challenged policy were warned that dissent could harm national interests. Biafra surrendered on the 15th of January, 1970. Britain immediately re-established oil contracts with Shell BP and expanded military training with Nigerian forces. Igbo survivors were allowed to withdraw only £20 each from their frozen bank accounts, regardless of prior balance. Britain hailed it as a victory for unity. In truth, it marked the consolidation of a dependent petrostate, Britain's model for post-colonial economic control. So the question is, why it matters now? The Biafran War became the prototype for later conflicts in Angola, Sierra Leone, and Sudan. Wars fought over resources under the banner of unity. The same patterns remain: Northern hegemony protected by Western interests, suppression of self-determination, and control through debt, arms, and oil. What began in Biafra continues in the Niger Delta, the Middle Belt, and the silent wars of today. I'll close with this. Biafra was the beginning. The whole of Nigeria is the endgame, unless truth breaks the circle Britain built. I stand today not as a politician, not as a historian, not as a representative of any tribe, but as a human being who recognizes pain when I see it. To the Igbo people, those who suffered in silence, those who lost loved ones, those who were abandoned, those whose cries were unheard, those who carried wounds across generations, I see you. I honor you. I acknowledge the suffering you endured. I was not there in the days of your persecution. I was not part of the decisions that harmed you. I did not walk in the halls of power that failed you. But I stand here today with a heart that refuses indifference. Your pain mattered then. Your pain matters now. Your lives carry value, dignity, and meaning. I do not speak from guilt, for the past was not my doing, but I speak from conscience, compassion, and truth. The silence that met your cries was wrong. The abandonment you faced was unjust. The suffering you endured was real and should never be forgotten. I cannot rewrite history, but I can refuse to ignore it. I stand with you, not to speak over you, not to explain your pain, but to honor your humanity and affirm your worth as my brothers and sisters. May healing come where wounds have remained. May justice rise where silence once lived. May truth be told where denial once stood. May unity be chosen where division was sown. And may the souls of all who were lost rest in peace and dignity.